Good morning, everyone. So I have two links for you to have open on your computer. One is the plot diagram that we worked with last week, and the other is Act 4. So I will make sure that the plot diagram gets updated in the Google Classroom so you have access to it there. And Act 4 is posted in the resources section of the Google Classroom. So again, here are our links. Can I please ask Jarrett, can you please put in the links when new people enter? That way they know where we're supposed to go, please. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Jarrett. Good morning, Richard. So we should be in the plot diagram first. I want to quickly review, and then we're just going to fill in the next portion of our plot diagram. That's all we're going to be doing today. And then I want to make sure that we have the opportunity to start our assignment for today. It's only one short response question, but I really want to make sure that students have the opportunity to get feedback on their writing and make sure that it's good before they turn it in. So remember that a plot diagram is the universal way that readers, writers, teachers, academics track what's happening in a fictional story. So there are 5 parts of a plot diagram. There's the exposition, which is how the story starts. The exposition sets up the setting and introduces characters. Then there's the rising action, which is all the stuff that happens leading up to the big thing or the climax. So oftentimes the problem will be introduced, as well as there will be a couple of complications that build on top of each other. Then there's the climax, which is the big event or twist where something really important happens. Then there's the falling action, where the stuff that happens directly after the climax or what happens in response to the big thing, right? And then finally, our resolution. How does the author tie up the loose ends of the story, or how does the story end? Okay? So remember, we have completed the exposition and the rising action. So the exposition of our story is we start in a church in London in the early 1900s, and we're introduced to our characters, the flower girl, Freddie, mom and daughter, note taker, gentleman, and the bystanders. As we move into the rising action, we are introduced to our problem. So Liza wants speaking lessons, right? That's the whole problem that focuses the entire plot of the story. And then there are these complications. Higgins doesn't want to teach Eliza. Then there's the idea of the bet. Then there's the fact that her father wants money. Then there's the fact that Mrs. Higgins doesn't approve. And there's the fact that Eliza is transforming, but still not perfect. So that's where we ended at the end of Act 3. Now, we are moving in Act 4 is the climax. So what is the really big thing that happened in Act 4? This is our check-in question for today. What is the really big thing that happens in Act 4? So there are 36 people in this chat. There should be 36 responses in our chat. So Lisa, I just put the question back in the chat.
Oh, there you go, Miss Hurley.
All right, lots of responses, which is awesome. So we've got Liza stands up to Higgins.
Wait, what was the question? Oh, you froze on my screen, so I didn't hear you.
Oh, I got you, Nate. So the question is, what's the big thing that happened in Act 4?
Oh, okay.
So Isis says Liza stands up to Higgins. Kazi says the argument between Higgins and Liza. Jalissa says Liza runs away. Layla says Liza starts to stand up for herself. Jasmine says Liza let Higgins know that she's upset, right? So we're hearing a lot of the same thing. So I want to clarify the misconception. So I'm seeing that many students are saying that Liza runs away. Let's be clear. In Act 4, Liza does not run away. So in Act 4, Liza does not run away. She does say that she wants to leave. That's a small difference, but it's really important because we don't want to jump the gun. We don't want to be saying things that haven't happened yet because we don't know if she ends up leaving or not, right? We've only gotten to Act 4. So if you jump back over to our plot diagram, right, we have something to fill out in the climax portion of our plot diagram. So the big thing that happens is Eliza shows Higgins how angry / upset she is. What is she angry and upset about? Can someone be more specific? So what is Eliza angry or upset about? Ooh, upset. There we go. All right, I'm starting to get some responses. There we go. Higgins took her identity. Higgins is using her for the bet. Higgins stole her identity. Transformation, right. So this is exactly right. So she's upset, and I'm back in the plot diagram just in case you wanted to follow me there because this is where we're working today. And I'm going to move some of my boxes so that I don't get confused. So 100%, Eliza shows Higgins how angry and upset she is that he used her and has changed her. What type of identity is it? Is it her internal identity that's changed, or is it her external identity that's changed?
Internal.
Nate, I appreciate you. Mute yourself, though, and write it in. So I've got external, internal, and both. So I need more perspectives here so that we can have this conversation. So right now we are trying to decide, did Higgins change her internal identity or her external identity? What is she so upset about? All right, so we've got external, internal, and both. So Henry, we are discussing, did Higgins change Eliza's internal identity or external identity? Did Higgins change Eliza's internal identity or external? And because we don't all agree, I want some reasonings. Provide a reason to support your response. So I'm seeing lots of both, lots of one, and lots of the other. So provide a reason to support your response. So I see Hesian with the first reason to support his response. Hesian says, because she was poor on the outside, he used that as an advantage and changed her internal. So both. Wonderful, Hesian. Thank you for that response. Nate says internal because she changed something. He changed something in Liza, which was her accent. Okay. Carter says he fixed her up with new clothes, but also made her mad on the inside. Okay. I want more reasons. No one's convinced me yet. I'm going to put a minute on the clock. You are answering the question, did Higgins change Eliza's identity on the inside, on the outside, and provide a reason to support?
Miss Hurley, you muted.
Yeah, I know, mate. Nate, I'm trying to take attendance while people are responding, but sometimes I forget. Thank you. All right, let's see what we got. So I've got 7 new responses since I looked last. So Shylin says both because he changed the way she looked and also her identity. Jalissa says both because she became someone she wasn't, but made her do things she didn't like. Okay. Mariah says internal because Higgins changed how Liza talks and how she reacts to things. Isis says he changed the way she looked and the way she spoke, and the way she acted. Okay. Liani thinks both because the speaking is an external change, but she lost her internal of the poor girl she used to be, and she misses both. Okay. See both, internal, both, external. All right. So we're going to say both because the ideas and the reasons behind both internal and external identity are strong. So both her internal identity, internal and external identity. Wonderful. So I've completed and updated this plot diagram. Remember, this is a resource for you. I'm going to make sure that it's attached to the assignment today, as well as making sure that it's updated in the resource tab on Google Classroom. Something that I want to make sure that is very clear. Let's make sure that we're unpacking this accurately. So Eliza's identity, let's clarify this. So what aspects of Eliza's identity was changed by Higgins? Be as specific as possible. Be as specific as possible. I'm going to make a document and we're going to put this all together so we can start to track what was external, what was internal. So what aspects of Eliza's identity was changed by Higgins? There we go. Keep responding. So I will put my prompt in again. So what aspects of Eliza's identity was changed by Higgins? Be as specific as you can. Insert. take another 10 seconds. If you haven't responded to the prompt, please do so now. I'm about to share a document for you to open. So we're going to, everyone should be on this document. I just put it in the chat. It is called Identity Changes - Eliza. Wonderful. I see 11 people are already in this document. Thank you for getting here so quickly. Wonderful, there we go. I'm gonna wait another 10 or so seconds, and then we're gonna get going so that we have enough time to get started on our assignment today. So, Eliza's changes. All right, so I'm gonna split my screen so that I'm able to see the chat and I'm able to fill out our document. So give me just a moment, please. So I'm gonna go back up to where we started this conversation. So, oh, I passed it. There we go. So Mariah starts with the way she presents herself. So Mariah, can you unmute? Is that internal identity change or is that external?
I think it might be external, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Oh, it's so good to hear your voice. I'm so glad that you're here, Mariah. So the way she presents herself, does anyone else want to tag in? Is that internal identity or external identity?
I think that's an external identity.
Okay, thank you. Liani, why do you think it's external?
I think that's external because the way she presents herself is what people see on the outside.
Wonderful. Thanks, Liani. The way she... So we've got the way she presents herself is on external changes. Her confidence is on internal. The fact that she can sell flowers is an external, right? Her profession. Her language, ooh, language is a tough one. Do we think that language is internal or external? Anyone who said language can unmute and add their perspective in here.
I think language is internal.
Internal. Richard, is that you?
Yeah.
Okay, so language as internal, there we go, language. And I'm gonna put a little asterisk there because it can sort of go both ways. So we've got her reactions, right, which other people see. But again, this is sort of internal and sort of external. So we're gonna have some that cross over. Her freedom. Hezien, is freedom internal or external? Hezien, if you're responding in the chat, I can't see it because of where I'm at. Can you unmute and answer?
I think it's external.
Why?
Because like your freedom, it's not on the inside much. It's more on the outside.
Okay. I think that that goes a little bit both. I agree with you that we can see freedom and freedom affects what we do, but I also think that freedom affects how our brains work. So we're going to put it in that both category. You know what? I'm going to add a both column because this is getting confusing. So I'm going to add it to the right, and we're going to do both internal and external. Oop, there we go, external. Wonderful, so we're gonna put language in here, and we're gonna put reactions in here, and we're gonna put freedom in here. Wonderful, so the way she carries herself was Layla's contribution, which is external. Liani, her judgment, that's another internal thing, right? Her judgment. Jalissa, I've already added her clothing. Good thought, though. I agree, Mr. McCabe. Deshaun, Hesian, and Liani are killing it. Isis, the place she lives, right? That external, where she lives. Her confidence, the way that she speaks, right? We've said that before. How poor she is, right? Her class, which is her class, which is an external identity, right? It's how you're viewed from the outside by how much money you have, how she speaks and how she acts, right? Her behavior, her accent, good, that's language. Her job, we've got that one. Her personality. Kwame, that's a little bit general. If there's something else you want to add, please add it to the chat. Her language, behavior. Language is external. Okay, so I think we've got everything here. I got a little bit excited with the amount of boxes that I added here, but that's okay. Delete 9 rows. There we go. So the purpose of this document is to show how the changes that Eliza made because of Higgins, because of the bet, because of this entire story, both affected her internal identity and her external identity. Now, if you notice, more of her external identity was changed than her internal, but both were affected. So I want to give, we've got 8 more minutes left. I want to put everyone, and I'm going to share this in the chat. I want everyone to look at the assignment for today. It's just one short response question. So I want to give folks an opportunity to clarify, make sure that they understand, and to practice writing their claim. That way you can get feedback before writing your short response. So here is the question for today. Short response question, homework for today, right? So the question is, the writer chose to skip over the garden party scene where Eliza is passed off as a duchess. Why might he have chosen to do this? Why might he have chosen to do this? Yeah, that last sentence is a little awkward. But so why did the author, so the duchess is like a fancy person, it's royalty, Kazi, or a lady, exactly, Abdul. So why would the author not include this scene? Let's write your claim. Write your claim for this short response. How would you answer this question? What is the claim that you would write to start off your short response? This is our last question for today. Make sure that you are completing this question. 1, so you can get feedback so that you're doing the right thing when you do the assignment for today. 2, so you can get started on your assignment, because who doesn't want to get ahead of their work? And 3, in order to earn active participation for today. You are answering this question. So maybe because there was nothing significant that happened there. Kazi, that's a strong inferential claim, right? So remember, claims need to include a inference. And Kazi did a great job of that. So Kazi's claim is strong because he's saying, because nothing significant happened. We don't know that for sure, but that might be a good reason why the author wouldn't include it. So Kazi asks the question, I'm not sure how to get evidence though. How do I find evidence to support this, right? That's a really good question. When we're answering author's purpose questions, finding evidence can be challenging. I completely agree with you. The place that you want to look is at the end of Act 3 and at the beginning of Act 4, specifically looking at the stage directions at the beginning of Act 4. So looking for evidence, focus in at the beginning of Act 4 and the end of Act 3. So let me look at some others. People aren't there. So Ethan, people aren't there. So there was a garden party. So people were there because the bet was successful, Ethan. So that inference doesn't make sense because we know that the garden party was a success. Arthur probably did it so we could jump straight to the comments. Isis, very strong interpretation of the actions. Good. Use that claim. There we go, Joseph. Good, Deshaun. Oh, interesting, Shylin. So Shylin says the author chose to skip the garden party because it was all about Eliza and nothing really happened, right? This all about Eliza bit, Shylin, is actually really allows your analysis to get really deep, right? So the fact that the garden party was all about Eliza and the fact that the story doesn't even talk about it shows that Eliza is not very important in the eyes of the story, right? So Shylin, that totally aligns with everything that we've learned throughout the text. Very strong claim. So Justin Flores, we know that the garden party was a success. So an inference that she wasn't ready doesn't make sense based on what we know. Jasmine, because the party does not show her change in identity, right? We've already got the tea scene with Mrs. Higgins, so we've already seen how her identity changes. The author might not have wanted to show it again. It feels redundant. Jasmine, you're right on where you need to be. Liani, exactly, good. Byron, there you go. Abdul, yep. Karen, yes, there you go, good. Good. So it is 9:28. If you are still not feeling confident with this, remember we've got an extra help session from 1 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. every single day. Please make sure you're there if you are confused. Also, make sure that you're looking at how other students were writing their claims. We have some really strong claims in this chat. Make sure that you're looking at it. Have a wonderful day and happy Tuesday, everyone.
Liani, what did you eat for